Hi, I'm Stephen Van Loffeld. I'm Ojibwe from Saugeen First Nation in Ontario, and I'm the coordinator of the Indigenous Education Network at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education at the University of Toronto. Let's take a look at some of the demographics, the health determinants, and current health status of Aboriginal people. Aboriginal people, that is First Nations, Inuit, and Métis, are the fastest growing segment of the Canadian population. The Aboriginal population is growing almost twice as fast as the Canadian population, and this trend is expected to continue over the next 2 decades. According to the 2006 census, almost 1.2 million people identified as either First Nations, Inuit, or Métis, making up roughly 3.8% of the Canadian population. Additionally, Aboriginal people are significantly younger than the Canadian population, with a median age of 27 compared to 40 for the non-Aboriginal population. Aboriginal people can be found in every province and territory, with the largest concentration of Aboriginal people residing right here in Ontario, with approximately 242,000 people, or roughly 21% of the total Aboriginal population. Moreover, the majority of Aboriginal people reside in urban areas. This means that healthcare providers are going to be treating people of Aboriginal ancestry. But why should healthcare providers provide treatment and care in a culturally safe manner? Let's take a look at some of the social determinants of health and the current health status of Aboriginal people. Social determinants of health are the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, and age, including the health system. These circumstances are shaped by the distribution of money, power, and resources at a global, national, and local levels. The social determinants of health are mostly responsible for health inequities, the unfair and avoidable differences in health status seen within and between countries. What non-Aboriginal people have, Aboriginal people have much less of, and also have the added burden of the legacy of residential schools. The legacy of residential school and the impacts of colonization can be directly linked to Aboriginal people having higher rates of poverty, lower education attainment and achievement, increased incidences of substance abuse, higher unemployment, a dependency on social assistance, increased exposure to environmental contaminants, discrimination within the justice system, inadequate water supply and waste disposal, poor quality housing at substandard infrastructure and maintenance, as well as overcrowded housing conditions. The list goes on. Obviously, these conditions have led to a gap not only in the health status between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people, but in mortality and life expectancy as well. An Aboriginal woman can expect to live on average 5 years less than a non-Aboriginal woman, while an Aboriginal man can expect to live 7 years less than a non-Aboriginal man. Additionally, Aboriginal people have an infant mortality rate that is 2 to 4 times higher than the Canadian population. Rates of diabetes is triple the Canadian average. AIDS and HIV deaths are double that of the Canadian average. Alcohol-related deaths are between 4 and 9 times higher. Hospitalization rates and preventable admissions are likewise higher among the Aboriginal population. Overall, Aboriginal people have 2 to 3 times more death, disease, and disability than non-Aboriginal people, and have earlier onset of disease and disability, which is more severe in nature. Again, the list can go on. What's important is that these health inequities do exist and have been caused by colonization, the intergenerational effects of residential school, and years of systemic discrimination. But by understanding that this is the lived experience of many Aboriginal people, being patient and compassionate with Aboriginal patients, and providing care in a culturally safe and effective manner, healthcare providers can begin to address the gaps in the health status that exists between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people, and ultimately work towards closing this gap. And remember, Aboriginal people have many faces, so it's best to utilize the knowledge and skills acquired from the cultural safety in everyday practice.